Hey, Culz Paranormal, it's Keegan Cool here with my Uncle Mark Cool. We're going to show you our new series about our personal experiences. We're going to start off here with the Black Veil. Now, Mark's in charge of this series, so Mark, do you want to tell me a little bit about this? I mean, I know both of us have seen the Black Veil.
Right.
I know you're going to tell us about the story, but are you excited about this new series we're starting?
Yes.
And honestly, the Black Veil is something that maybe kind of jump-started our ghost hunting career. Would you say that's pretty acceptable to say?
Yes, because I think, with a lot of the experiences that had the Black Veil in it, that's what started it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we had the Hamilton house, which I think was a huge part in it.
Mm-hmm.
But still, the Black Veil was at that house, so honestly, I think the Black Veil kind of jump-started, at least from our standpoint, me and Colin's ghost hunting career.
Right.
So I hope you guys are going to enjoy this, whether you're watching us on Facebook or YouTube.
Now tell me the story about the Black Veil.
Well, I was about 4 years old, and my grandparents were babysitting me. And their living room was real big, and I was playing. Then I had to go to the restroom. And it was a 2-story house. I went upstairs. I didn't bother putting on the hall light or even the bathroom light, because as I went up the stairs, there was a long hallway, and at the end was the bathroom, where you open the door and there it is. And the lights from the living room were shining enough that I was able to see where I was walking and what I was doing, and it didn't frighten me. So when I started to go downstairs, you know that feeling of, gee, it seems like someone's standing behind me. And so I turned, and all I saw was a soft, that's why I call it the Black Veil, a long black veil, but you couldn't see a face through it. You know, and I could see the curves of the material, how it draped.
Yeah, wow.
And I shot down those stairs, but when I reached the bottom, I just went on and I continued playing where I was playing before I went up. I never said anything to my grandparents. I don't know why, but as a child, sometimes you just didn't say anything. And that I kind of stored in the back of my head for many, many years. I never said anything to anyone about this story. Then, having stored this for years and not having ever told the story to anybody, it was around 11th or 12th grade in high school. Different house. We had moved, and of course my parents and my grandmother was living with us at the time. And when I walked into the kitchen, my parents were talking, and I don't know what the issue was at that time with my grandmother. She had said something, and when I came into the kitchen, I came in right at the time when my dad was telling my mother, because he was not believing something that my grandmother had said that day. And he came out with, oh yeah, as if I'm going to believe that, just like she told me years ago that she had seen a black shadow in her house. Well, my ears perked up. Mm-hmm. And resurfaced in my brain was what had happened to me. And I says, wait a minute, Dad, what do you mean? Oh, your grandmother used to say she would be laying in bed. Now, where the living room was in her home, on the main level, was their bedroom. And her bed was against the wall, and with her leaving her bedroom door open and looking out, there's a window, and the street light from outside, was enough light for her. And she used to say how sometimes she would see a black shadow walk in front of that window. And so when my dad said that, of course, it brought that memory out, and I thought, okay. And I told him, guess what, Dad? Me too, me too. And he just kind of looked at me and he says, she had other friends that claimed also of having seen something in that house.
Oh, wow.
So after all those years of storing it in my memory bank, my dad really, to me, it was a confirmation. Okay, so I did see what I saw because 3 other people also had seen something.
And if you have seen it ever since?
And yeah, to answer your question, no, I haven't seen it since. And like I said, this was at the time when I was around 4 years old.
That was
so I've been
story.
a believer of spirits for a very long time.
So, we don't know why the black veil does this, but after my yaya saw it, we didn't really see it again in our family until the late 80s. And that was when Mark saw it first here at the Littleton house.
Okay, and I was maybe 5 or 6 years old and living at Littleton here at Colorado against the Stony Creek subdivision in Littleton. And I remember one night I was laying in bed and there was this dark, very dark shadow hanging over my bed. And it looked like a person, an outline of a person just standing there, but it was like real dark. And soon I kind of got up out of bed. I wasn't afraid of it, but I got up trying to figure out what it could be. And then when I looked back, because I was looking out the window because maybe they could be a tree or something, I looked back and it was this see-through like apparition.
And this took place in Littleton?
Yeah, Stony Creek Elementary School is that.
And it would be seen again there at a second time.
So, Jill, you experienced Black Veil before, right?
Yes.
Can you tell us what experience you had with it?
It was approximately about 1990, and I was sleeping over at a friend's house, and I felt very uncomfortable, like somebody was there. And when I awoke and I looked at the end of the bed, what they call is the black veil was standing right there. It was real dark, with the veil on his head, and he just kind of moved and swayed. And I kind of turned my head and tried to wake up my friend real quick to have them see it too, and then he was gone.
So since that experience, have you experienced any more of this Black Veil?
You know, I'm really not sure if I've experienced the same as the black veil, but I've had a lot of other experiences, and not necessarily did I see that, the black veil, but I've seen other things or heard other things. So I'm not sure if that was black veil or not, but there's a lot of other things that are unexplained.
So once again, the black veil would go on its escapade and disappear for a while. This is the second time it disappeared, and after my mom saw it, kind of it waited around. I don't think we saw it again until it was 2003 or 4 when Mark saw it at the Hamilton House. And then we didn't see it again until after when Mark saw it here, and he's going to tell you about it. And it was in 2006 when he saw it at my yaya's house.
Now, my experience with the black veil, I was laying in bed, just about going to sleep. And with this door closed, this is the darkest corner right here when the door's closed and everything, all the lights were off. And all of a sudden, I saw the black veil, kind of like this, and I was laying here, and it went up over the bed and through the ceiling, and I felt, what the big thing was, I felt ice cold when it flew over me.
Now, on our first investigation back in 2007, this is where we, right in this very location, caught the black veil red-handed. Mark, do you want to tell them what we found?
Yes, and we set up a night camera here, taping in the bathroom, and in the mirror we saw like a black shadow, very distinctive, like flowy, like gown or veil. And then we also caught it going in front of the camera too, and we also had a shirt hanging in this doorway, and we also had, and this was caught in the daytime. When we caught this in the morning, we had a camera here facing this way, and something walked in front of the camera really quick, and there's a shirt moved up really quick. So it happened in like
Happened instantaneously, and honestly, this is where we caught the black veil, and I think it's kind of a coincidence that the first time we went ghost hunting, we found the black veil. And it was shortly after your experience that you experienced upstairs.
Yes, and it was.
So from that day on January 2007 to late 2011, I'd say in December, the black veil was missing. And come December of 2011, I was sitting here typing on the computer, just running up a story, and I looked into the TV, and what I noticed was the hallway was a lot darker than it usually is, because the light comes through. I mean, you can see from the video that the light does come through there, and it's very noticeable at night. And so I was staring at it because I found that kind of strange, and that's when I noticed that it moved. Like, I could see the mask come out of the hallway and just move out like this, kind of like if you take like a jacket, like say a jacket, and then you move it kind of like this, just like that's how it kind of moves. And it moved into that direction and kind of disappeared, and I was like, wow, that's kind of weird. And I kind of let it be because we don't like to give it the attention it wants. And it would be away again, you know, it goes in these spurts, and it was gone for a while until Colin once again saw it up in his room.
So this is my encounter that I believe was with the black veil. So it first started when I heard knocking sounds and footsteps coming up the stairs, walking down the hallway, and I squinted my eyes open just barely enough to see this black figure come walk in my room, walk all the way to my desk, and right where the chair is, I saw him lean over, and that's when I heard stuff moving all around my desk. And I believe I saw my wallet move from here all the way to the end of my desk. And when I was just staring at it, it got up, turned at me, looked at me, and just faded away. This was actually a pretty good coincidence that At the same time this happened in my room, Mark had a dream about the Black Veil.
And I also had a dream about the Black Veil. We wasn't visiting or investigating, but the dream was kind of like realistic. And I remember Scott and Keegan Collins and we were on the truck going to investigate someplace. And though the Black Veil kept calling us on my phone, and everyone was kind of like getting mad because they kept calling us. And on the caller ID, it says Black Veil, but no number. It says Black Veil. And it was so realistic that I thought it was like real. You know, it was happening until I woke up.
And what's weird about that is just how Colin saw the Black Veil the same night you had that dream.
Yeah, that was weird. And especially right away you told me that when I told you about my dream.
You know, I think perhaps why it's following us, we're not sure. Even if it's related to us somehow, we don't know.
And that's something we're still searching for. We're trying to find these answers, and maybe one day we'll find out exactly what the Black Veil is. But I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope you'll join us next time for our next investigation, Mark. This is about your papu, right?
Right.
There's been some experiences around that.
Yes.
And I know my dad's seen something, right?
Right.
Alright, so join us next time. We'll have a good show next time, too. Thank you all.